this is actually going to be a very, very fast 45 minutes. And I want you to know that that last session to me was completely off the charts excellent. It was really, really, really good. Great feedback from a number of you afterwards. Kate showed some incredible enthusiasm that kept that session alive. So I'm going to do a quick review, and the quick review is this is a review of phase 3, and this is the workshop backing up the webcast from our 90-minute program. And so we get to be a little looser. We get to be a little more comfortable, hopefully, since we've scratched the surface on that. And we're going to be talking about our guiding principles again. The 2 major guiding principles we're going to talk about and recap and then use to break down further to get some more juice out of that for you guys would be our grasp concept and our reach. One is a getting ready concept. That's the getting ready attitude, signature, and passion. And then the reach piece is a leadership perspective. That one is responsibility, engagement, accountability, connection, and then how you live and feeling, which we've seen a few times. And I'm going to double check and make sure. I might need to mute someone. I hear a little bit of scratching. If you can beat me to it, go ahead and mute yourselves and be prepared to just unmute when we come on, when we bring you back on board, because that way we keep the sound down and we keep the recording really, really nice and crisp and good. So the recap is this. The role play last session with Alex's support and completely Jeff was just over the top extraordinary. And the number of things that came out of that when we're talking about sharing customer challenges and how to handle those from real life professional situations and how we team up to create discussion on, number one, what that looks and feels like and how to enroll it. And the whole point is to learn these invaluable insights and be able to adopt these principles. That's why I took the risk of being the GM and doing it on the fly. Now, I know we broke it down a bit while we were at our last session, but I want to open up that can of worms a bit and see if you've thought more about that and what you can add in terms of value to this call and to the team members so that we extract all the juice out of those role-playing pieces. If you don't mind, Alex, can you join in and share any further thought about the power of those role plays, and particularly when Jeff brought on that major heat where he brought us to a stage where I basically had to ask him to leave the property. So break that down in terms of the value of what was gained from the GM perspective and even the customer perspective, and then everybody be willing to join in on that if you don't mind.
Yeah, I think the most valuable piece of that is the realism of that interaction,
Yes.
and having it. Those are things that interact with that customers say to the GM. So I feel like if we can make it as harsh and as real as we can, then everything else is a lot easier. It's almost like if you're prepping for an interview, you want the worst type of interview you can imagine, so that when you do have that interaction, it's really not as bad and you're more comfortable dealing with it. That was the biggest thing that I feel the GM could have taken away from it.
I agree. That was really, really huge because it was so real life. In fact, even the second one, when we didn't ask him to go into role play, he just jumped right into the role play. He really brought down the house with that. And you know what? That's exactly when we talk about guiding principles and that sort of stuff. We talk about it from our ivory towers on how to manage that, but we were not in the ivory towers. We were in the woods on that one because I didn't saw it coming either. And you guys saw me escalated to the degree where it was time to have that gentleman leave the property. That's really where he placed it, because with that poison and venom that he was spewing, and even when I brought it to the most respectable place that we could, he didn't want any of that. So if he's doing that to me, he's likely doing that to his neighbors as well. And so at the end of the day, instead of us just being disturbed by one, he, in that one major disturbance, is likely affecting, we don't know, multiples of other people. So very good, Alex. I like that. What about you, Kate? You had great enthusiasm in your sharing. So not that you necessarily need to go back and rehash that, but I'm not so sure how many people followed that loop. And you brought some really, really great points to what happened in those series of role plays, like I said, particularly the one with Jeff. So what have you learned from that for yourself, Kate? And how will you share that learning with your team?
Well, we've already talked about it a good bit here, and I think what I got from that is my anxiety level went through the roof, and I was there But I could see watching you kind of holding on to it, and it's what you said too, is the customer is not always right, but he is always the customer.
Yes.
And so I think that I may have crossed over right there. So I'm going to listen to it. And I did have an opportunity to go back this week or last week and say, this is what I want to do to make this. So, I made it right. I kind of did what would Jesse do, got through it. And then I realized that at the end of the day, I don't have to win. I know, I always felt like I needed to win. I don't have to win. I have to represent us the best we can and try to have them, leave them feeling good somehow.
That's remarkable, Kate. That's really good. All of your words are extremely well chosen, and they're perfect. When you said, I don't always have to win. See, when you're at the top of an organization, like you are there, you're at the gym, you're the final straw, you're the last bit, you feel like you only win when you win, and that's not true. You don't always have to have a personal win or situational win. And here's how I say that. Here's what I'll add to as added value. Whenever I was in operations like you folks are inside of these bigger entities, what I always learn is, when you're in a jam and you're really not sure how to answer that or what to do, always make a property or a company decision. If you make a property or a company decision, you can't go wrong even if you make a mistake. Oftentimes where we go wrong is if we're looking to make either a personal decision, something that suits or benefits us, or if we're looking to make a department decision. It may not serve the others, but if you go wrong you're making a decision on behalf of that situation, on behalf of our entire brand, what we stand for at RVC, then it's likely that you're not going to make a mistake. And even if you do, it's repairable. But I think it's worse if you make a personal choice decision on a difficult matter, because it may or may not be good for the property or the brand. But if you're making a company and a brand style decision in difficult times, we'll forgive you if you make a mistake, because you'll eventually stop making those. Does that have any value for you, Lace? Lace, weigh in on that, if you will. What value does that have for you to hear me say that?
Well, basically, you always have to realize that it's not you that they are upset with. It's you can't take it personally, and the company. You are the company. You are RVC. And that means that everything you do is you're just a mouthpiece. So when they get upset at you, they're not as upset at you. They are upset at their situation. They're upset at what the policy that they don't agree with or whatever. And you can't take it personally because of that. They don't know you. They don't know you well enough to dislike you. So all they are seeing is you are RVC.
Exactly. You are, to your point, you are representing the brand, you are representing the company, and you have that logo on your chest. That's who you are to them. You're not a personal friend or such. So that's what Kate bringing out, what she brought out, helped me deliver that additional additive, is that you default to what's the best company decision or brand decision on this. And I remember someone, I don't know who it was, but someone on the last broadcast talked about, in that super nasty situation that I was enrolled in with Jeff, someone brought up, he even said in his role play, well, I'm going to go on social media and I'm going to tell them how horrible you are. And you know what? That likely could happen. But when people are reading those reviews, while it may sting our 5-star status because it takes a chunk, when people read that actual review, they're going to know this person has issues. Because they're probably not going to eloquently filter that down through and share it from a clean perspective. They're probably going to tell just their side of the story. Very so slanted that anybody reading that would probably say, I got to write this one off. This person was just an angry person or just an obnoxious person. So we don't even have to worry about that. We can't control it anyway, if that makes sense. So that's really good. And so, Ian, before we move further on this, do you have any thoughts from reading that chain, that wonderful chain that Kate set out about enthusiasm, about the power of that role play or those role playing situations?
Well, first of all, let me welcome Craig. Craig, is that you? Wave your hand. Hey. All right. Craig's our new manager at Medina. And so we will get him caught up to speed on Just Talks, but welcome, Craig. As far as your question, Jesse, I really liked how Jeff created the impossible dynamic, because a lot of us face those situations monthly, or, well, hopefully not that frequently, but at least a few times each year. And so to your point, Jesse, the way you handled it was that you basically stood your ground. Stood your ground and told that customer, look, hey, we're not for you. And so I don't think we need to look, I feel that in those situations, we look at customers as a monetary value and the absolute necessity for them to stay with us. And I would argue that it's really about an experiential value that we're trying to provide. And if that customer is not happy with the experience that we're providing, then let go of that monetary value, that thing that, you got to keep them there because you've rented that site out and it's going to be hard to rent that site out again. Let go of that completely, because it's not worth it to you or them if you can't provide on that experiential value.
That's actually very good, Ian. I like that, because providing that experience is what people leave their homes and travel away, whatever the distances are, to get to our different sites. That's why they do it. And if there's someone there that's a cancer, that's a seed for disaster for the other folks, not just us that are going through to our staff or our teams. Because it's the saying, I've said it before on our broadcast, I'll say it again, how you do anything is how you do everything. So that's how that person shows up. And when they're being that nasty and that bitter and that self-centered, we don't necessarily need that kind of business, because it's going to ruin the experience for others. So I really like that you brought that experiential piece of it out, because that's exactly where it stands. So right on for that. So my next question then is, how do we enroll this new language that we've learned? Let's ask and answer the question here. How do we enroll as GMs that new language, that new language of grasp, that new language of reach, the new language of impossible dynamic and reversal of perspective? How do we actually enroll those nuggets? What does that look like? How do our GMs really take and run with this? Anybody have any thoughts?
I can kind of weigh in on it a little bit, Jesse. This time of year is actually a great year to enable the grasp concept, where we're kind of shaking off a little bit from the previous year and the season, but right now it's all about getting ready. And so we talked about budgets and things like that, and that's the black and white kind of boring getting ready side of it. But then you have to think to yourself, all right, what is next year going to look like? Not in terms of budgeting and the black and white numbers, but also engaging your attitude about, okay, how am I going to carry myself? Was my attitude and how I carried myself previously the way I want to carry myself into the future? And then really working on that signature piece, and how you feel, how you leave them feeling. That signature piece is, okay, did everybody, my staff and the team members and the guests that came here and I interacted with, did I leave them with a signature that I'd be proud of? And then, the last part is the passion of the grasp concept, which is, it's we all feel a little bit shaken up from the last year of being so busy, but I feel like over time we over the course of, or after I guess licking your wounds from the year, you can kind of re-engage that passion. It always kind of comes back, is my my thoughts.
Yeah, that's true. That's very, very, very good. And we know we're going to focus very heavily on the attitude and the signature part. Let's talk about that signature part just for a second. Again, the signature is how you show up and how people come to know you and what you do and how well you do it. And that signature is your personal footprint on matters, whether it's escalating in a situation or you're just showing up on the property when there's nothing going wrong and nothing going down. And that signature is something we want you to get to be so good at, that you take such pride and joy in that people come to know you by one name. There are people that their signatures are so incredible that you hear the first name and you don't need to hear the last name. If I were to say the first name, Wayne, what name comes to mind? Second name.
John Wayne.
Say it.
Wayne Gretzky?
Yep, Gretzky. Gretzky, right on. Is that Craig?
I thought Bruce Wayne.
Yeah, Bruce Wayne, but Gretzky, either way. And Gretzky is probably the one that comes to mind for most of us, right? Is that you, Jacob?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's Gretzky. Well, that's what he comes to mind. How about this? And this could give you a couple second names, but Michael.
Jordan.
Michael
Yeah.
Jordan or Michael Jackson. They come to mind, right? What about if I gave you the name Dolly?
Martin.
Dolly Parton, right away. What if I gave you the name Cher?
Bono, or whatever she is now.
Yeah, we don't even remember her last name, but we know we're talking about Cher, who was married to Sonny Bono, right? Right? So these people have developed such an exquisite signature that we get to know them by one single name. If I were to say the name Tony, what name comes to mind as the second name? Tony.
Bennett.
Tony Bennett? Or what about Tony or Anthony? No second name comes to mind right away. Anthony or Tony?
Tony Danza.
Tony Danza, but that was back in the day, and he did have a name. But even Tony Robbins or Anthony Robbins has a bigger name, bigger single name. You know what I mean? So we want our GMs to take this on as though they're developing that brand signature that people, when you say just their first name, everybody can see what they stand for. Their talents, their skills, their ability to manage the business, to manage clients, all of that. That's what we want to do on that signature part of the grasp. And that becomes very, very important. In fact, let's use the name Jeff. The name that comes to mind to me is Love.
Love, definitely.
Because Jeff Love was bringing it that day. He really brought his A game. In fact, you guys, I don't think you heard this as we were coming off the session, and I said, okay, session's closed. I heard Jeff say, oh shit, he's going to kill me. Because he brought it so strong. So I actually heard him say that. So with that being said, we want to step up the ladder on this stuff and talk about really what we're actually getting ready for and how to enroll that. So the question before I get into that is, how do we actually enroll these things? How do we enroll these things? Let me ask Alex, can you help us out and tell us how will you, or how can we expect others to enroll this? Not just to be on here because we had the call plan, to actually do something with. How do you enroll this new language?
I think it would be probably maybe if each GM or even myself reflects back on a specific instance where I would have liked the instance to go differently, or maybe how it could have been handled better using the reach to the grasp concept. So I think, we all have those instances that we wish would have turned out differently over the past, especially the busy season. So maybe think about, how could I have changed my attitude, or what was that guest really talking about, instead of what they were yelling at me or something like that. And then use that going forward in the future, I think would be a great way to do it. So more self-reflection.
Oh, that's good. Self-reflection is a very good one, because we're going to step into a little more self-reflection here before the call's up. So that's actually a great way to do it. Not to beat yourself up, but to self-reflect for improvement, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very
Exactly.
good. Very good. Okay, with the new name of Grace, what can you add to that? And, by the way, accidental, but it is beautiful on you. It does look good on you, the name Grace. So,
Thank you.
what can you add to that, Grace, in terms of how we help our GMs enroll this intelligence, not just sit through, but actually put it into place?
I think it's just a matter of making a conscious decision to do it. I mean, oftentimes, we receive all this helpful information, and then we have to make a decision, a quality decision. I'm going to do this. And then you begin to practice it. And as you begin to practice and utilize it, you will see the benefits of it. And I think only when we see the benefits of it will we then be something will trigger in the mind when that occurrence, when that happens, or the incidents or something comes where we need to use those skills. Something will trigger you that you have, that you're armed with what you need to effectively handle the situation. And as we practice and implement, it just becomes a norm. And I think as we use the skills and use our knowledge, then somehow it begins to grow within you, and you develop your own mechanism for handling situations that may be even outside of the training tools. So I think it's a conscious decision that I will practice this. I will try this. I will see if this works for me.
I think that's actually extremely well said, Grace. It's a choice. It's you deciding right now. In fact, much of what we do on this program and in our real life is surrounded by choice. You must make that concerted choice to make this happen. And you don't need to worry about the failure factor on it. We want to actually assume that it's going to maybe take a minute or two to get up to speed with this. So you want to fail forward, you want to fail often, and you want to fail fast, and then you want to get over it. Because the more you enroll it and the more you do, the better you get at it. And so that's actually a very good submission in terms of a way to enroll this. And I agree with you. And that's where we want to take all this is to lean all of this on the principle of choice. You have choice to use this intelligence or not. So if you choose to use it, I can guarantee you're going to up your game. You're going to do far better in all aspects of your life, and especially there on the properties, than otherwise, because your tool belt is armed with tools that work. And when people think in pictures. That's why I wanted to do the role play, so you can see it, you can feel it. You'll never forget the experience. And so that's what that's about. And Kate, are you going to share something with us as well before we move to the next piece?
Well, you know what, Gladys, or Gracie now, that what you just said to me about making a conscious decision, and then what you said about getting over it, I'm the worst at getting my feelings hurt. So if I think about what you're saying, Gladys, I've learned so much. Last week, I took so many notes and I went back over things, and really almost everybody gave me something to use then. The thing is to keep practicing it. And when I don't get it right, get over it, get over it, and then just go again. And each time I think we get stronger and character changes, and we become more of that person that we want to be. I don't think we're ever, screw ups or have issues, because that's what we want. We want this, but with everybody sharing their little insights, I feel like I'm getting better by the moment.
Yeah, and you know what? You are. Yeah, so thank you, Kate, for recognizing what Grace has put out there for us. So, yeah, absolutely, you are getting better by the moment. And get this: whenever you have a situation, all of you on this call, not just Kate, I'm speaking to Kate directly, but I'm also speaking to all of you. Whenever you have a situation that goes south, that gets mucky or murky or problematic or heavy, and you handle it. Once you handle it, I want you to put it down. I want you to metaphorically put it down. Walk away, go into your life. Pick a time period when you will come back and readdress your thoughts and feelings about it. Maybe it's at the end of the day. Maybe it's tomorrow at the same time. Maybe it's 24 hours or 48 hours. Then come back to that situation. Do not, you can write a quick note or two, a quick bullet point or two about the matter. A quick journaling piece, if you will, just so you remember some of the most critical parts about that, and then step away. And when you come back to it, you will look differently. And let me tell you how that works. Whenever we do speaking engagements, we always take a rating from the audience. We want to know what they took away. We want to know what points resonated with them. We want to know how they felt about the facilitator's ability to get that message or those messages across. And then we want to know how we can improve. And then we give a number. We ask them to circle a number. Well, when we get our reviews, we do not read our reviews right away. We step away. There's sometimes, unless the person that's hiring us need those numbers, those statistics back early, we may not read those for a week or two at a time. So let's assume we do an event and it's got 100 people in it. Let's just assume that's the case. We will not read those event ratings for 7 to 14 days later. 7 to 14 days later. And you're probably wondering why, right? You're wondering, why would I do that? Lace, take a shot at it. Don't worry about being right or wrong. Tell me what you think. Why do you think we step away for 7 to 14 days before reading that?
Might be too emotional. I might get my feelings hurt.
Yes, you would be too emotional. You get your feelings hurt. That's really solid. What else? Anyone else? What about you, Lace?
I think she's on mute.
Hindsight's 20/20. Yeah, you can look back and rethink what you actually were talking about, what you did, as an observer, more like, instead of as the person that did it.
Exactly. Exactly. Well said. And I've got 2 callers on the line, and I'm not sure who those callers are. They're not video. The person that has the number. Who's that?
It's Yale.
Oh, Yale. Are you at 40? No, you're at 4612.
Nope.
Are you at 4748?
4756.
Oh, I don't even see that one yet. Let's see.
I'm hiding from you.
Oh,
It's on the bottom.
You were so good. You were stealth, sir.
I just wanted to share that. So, oftentimes, objectivity takes a while to take effect.
Yes.
When you're wound up and you're so close to this issue and you just can't see any other way out, a lot of times, once you reflected on it, and I don't know if it takes 14 days, sometimes it takes a week, but when you come back to it, you've learned something and you know how you're going to address it next time, and you might also have a better way of solving the current issue or following up on it.
Absolutely spot on. That's exact. And you, all of you have said it correctly. You and Kate hit it right. For you team, it may not be 14 days. For you team, it may be as little as 24 to 48 hours. In fact, quite frankly, your window is probably somewhere between 1 to 3 days max that you walk away. And what Yale is saying, you see the picture more clearly. And at the end of the day, we all have feelings, and people a lot of times don't think we do because of our roles and so forth. But we all have different feelings and emotions about things. We want to separate the emotion from the matter. Because we say we shouldn't take things personally, but we do. So you put it down, and the reason why we take a little bit longer, because we have so many events going on, we like to really make sure there's a true separation. So when I come back to look at a series of ratings, whether they're, no matter what people have said on those, I have a whole different perspective. I'm rating the event and the speaker, facilitator, not the person, not me. So no matter what I get, and what I'm looking for is the one way for you to improve is for others to help you see yourself how others see you, if that makes sense. So that's why. So for you, team, it could be quite likely, I would say it'd be a 4-hour stand down, an 8-hour stand down, 24 hours, somewhere between 48 and 72. Then you come back and you're going to pull some incredible nuggets out of that, very differently than you would if you were to assess that immediately after, assess how you showed up immediately after that. You quite likely may not improve as quickly because you're going to be guarding your feelings yourself against, maybe even discarding some of that feedback. If it's bogus, you'll know after you separate yourself from it. But if it's not, you may not know that so clearly while you're in it. So that's really huge. That's a good one. So thank you for that input, team. And I want to see if I can determine really, really quickly who else is out there. Let me say the last 4 digits of your number and see if I can tell who's on 4612. Maybe 4612 doesn't know how to open up and unmute.
I think that's Betsy, Jesse.
Oh, Betsy. Okay, thank you, Betsy. So I can see, so I can bring them into the fold. And then there's a 4748. Do you know who that one is? 901-432-4748.
It's Gladys.
Oh, that's you, Gladys.
Am I showing up?
Yeah, I see your picture and I see the number. So I don't know why it's giving me both, but that's okay. That's good enough. So now I'm covered. That's you're double covered.
Great.
Okay, good. So now as we transition from that, let's talk about this. We talked about ways of enrolling this is important, because what Gail wants and what Ian wants and our leaders is we want you to truly be able to use the power of this language. Some of the words you've heard before, but we're using them in a different context. We want you to use them as we learn them and display them. And once you know you have them down solid, then you can tweak it and put that little Gladys touch on it, put that little Ian touch on it once you know you have the concept down. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about how, from this whole past year, how what you do has left other people feel. In other words, how do my people feel about me now? How do you believe your people feel about you now, so we can make course correction as we get into the year? Let me ask, let's see, is it Craig? Craig is our new one? Craig, let me, well, how new are you, Craig?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've been here 48 hours now.
Oh, that's good. That's good enough.
Less than 48 hours, actually.
Oh, okay. I was going to put you on the spot, but since you've only been there less than 48 hours, you just got yourself a hall pass.
Go for it. Let's see what happens.
Well, let me ask you, in under 48 hours, Craig, how do you think the people that you're there to serve and then to serve you, how do you think they feel about you within those 48 hours?
I've when I got here, just wanted to get to know everybody and get to know on a personal level and see what their personalities are like. And I think they've opened up to me. They were a bit passive or timid at first when I first met them, but you can see that it's starting to change, and they're starting to open up to me quite a bit.
Very good. And how are you making that change happen? Oh, yeah, they're having fun with you now.
Getting to know them. It's I'm not coming in here on day one just saying this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to change. I got to learn the resort myself, and I've got to learn. I'm new to RVC, so I just want to get to know the people first, and then in my background or my career, I've gotten to where if people trust you, they'll work harder for you, and if you work and you get in the trenches with them, it really makes a difference. So just getting to know them right now.
You're getting to know them, but you also, with that aspect, what you're doing, Craig, too, is you're showing that team early on that you care.
Yes.
That you care enough to take the time. What you really feel, you likely have, there's probably 2 or 3 Craigs running around in your head. The Craig that needs to get to know the people, the Craig that needs to build those relationships, the Craig that needs to hit those benchmarks, the Craig that needs to do what he promised Gail and everyone else that he could do. There's all of that's running around in you, but on the outside, you've got to have a sense of grace and precision and timing, and getting those people to realize that you care about them and RVC and the area that you're in charge of, right?
Yeah, that's correct. And the 4th Craig is trying to get moved in at the same time.
Well, that should be Craig's assistance, is what that should be. But yeah. But here it is, Craig. And you've heard this before. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Yeah.
So even when we start a program, we like to start a program about you, ask about you, show that we've done our homework about you, that we care about you. Now we can get you to get engaged and involved. The way you start that team out, Craig, that's going to be your legacy for some while. If you stumble or step on some toes or have some breakdown experiences, some frustration with this team early on, that's what they're going to remember as you go to try to gel and evolve. They're going to be fearful of that.
Absolutely.
So very good. So thank you. Thank you for that. Not bad for 48 hours on the spot. You did well.
All right. Thank you.
So let's step over to you, Kate. What do you believe your people feel and know or think about you?
Oh, gee. I think we're really a pretty good team, but it's funny that because we had this conversation this morning is that I do feel like being so small that I think that at least one person feels like I'm the boss. I know this is a little bit different from what you're talking about, but our conversation was this morning was that we want to be a team, and I'm going to be the team leader, but everybody that we're, so we're working that way, and hopefully, I'm hoping they feel pretty comfortable. We try to encourage it, for us to. I'm sure nobody's going to tell me if they think I'm a jerk. Maybe Alicia might, but I think she feels comfortable enough to do that. But no, I do think it's important to take that temperature, from time to time, because we get so caught up in what we're doing that I don't, as Yale says, take a breath. I need to take a step back a little bit and assess everything and make sure that we are, guests are huge, but without the staff and the working team, we're not going to produce the way we want to. So I need to be sure that I do keep an eye on that.
Right, that's good. So as we end the busy season, you're saying that what I'm hearing you say is that you believe that the people that you are associated with, those folks that work with you in the organization, that they feel good about how you show them, they feel good about your leadership, and they feel inclusive, yes?
I think so. And I think I try to say, if you're not comfortable, how do you feel about just saying, no, you put too much on me? It's because sometimes everybody here, they're also nice. I'm really very lucky that way, but I do wonder if somebody doesn't feel comfortable enough, and that's what I need. I need respect, and I have to earn that, but I also want to encourage that comfort. Do you understand? Help me, you've got better words.
Yes.
I want to feel that they can interact and just say, hey, wait a minute, I only have this many hours in a day, get off my back, or here's a better way. I need that dialogue.
Well, what you're saying, Kate, is you have designed a co-collaborative environment. Yes, you're the top. Yes, you're the boss, but it's a co-collaborative environment. There are times when you allow that collaboration, and also you allow truth telling. You really want to know the truth because you're a person that has flaws and challenges along with your strengths like the rest of us. So if you're doing something that's not working for your team, you really want to have those conduits of opportunity for them to get to you and say, hey, this is not working for me, or this is not working for us. And then talk through that, communicate through that. Maybe there's just needs some slight adjustments on someone's part, yours or theirs or both. You know what I mean?
I agree. And if we don't, I feel like if you let it get too far out of hand, then I'm going to lose their trust or their respect. And once you do that, I think it's really hard to get it back. And
it is.
They're out there on their own, and they're only putting in their 8 hours. And I need them to drink the Kool-Aid, love the brand, love the people that they work with, so that they're giving their best to the whole here. And I think once you get some, if I screw up and I hurt somebody's feelings and I don't recognize it, or it's just too small a world here. So I really think that that's something that is both easy to take care of, but it's always easy to let it get out of control in the wrong direction.
Well said. That's good. I like that. That's good addition. And I'm sure other folks on the call, the GMs and other folks on the call, feel the same way. Jacob, I want to ask you, I know the GMs likely have had some failures and some successes throughout this past season. How do you, in your case, Jacob, quickly tell me, how do people feel about you now based on this season you're just getting out of?
So I haven't had a full season. I've been here for just about 3 months now.
Okay.
And it's went by really quickly, but it also seems like I've gotten to know everybody here so much better over that course of time, as to where my first month, everybody was real quiet around me. And it just took kind of breaking down those barriers and to, get the dialogue going, as they know more about the parks than I do, being that they lived it this entire year and that I'm just coming in. So I hope that now everybody feels comfortable talking with me, and that, if there is an issue, that we'll talk it through.
Right. And so when you say you hope that, Jacob, I like that. What I would ask you to do, if you're not already doing that, is to periodically check to make sure they realize that the door swings in both directions, that you're open for that, because you may not realize, but you may get into a particular mindset or disposition set, even though you feel that way. If you're not communicating that, they may not realize that opportunity is there. What are your thoughts?
No, I agree. And that's every day I try to just ask questions about what they've got going on, how they're doing, what can I do to help, what can we do to make things better. Just because I'm still, it's been 3 months, but I'm still the new guy. So they've got a lot of great feedback that I just need to make sure that I'm getting it from them.
I like that. And with you being the new guy, I would actually keep that, even though we know 3 months, I mean, in terms of tenure with some of the others is softer. I would actually play the game as though I've been there forever. I'd play the game as though I've been there forever, because then you look more natural and fit in that society. When we know that there's still a learning curve that you're going to just have to go through, and we know that, and you will. And so that's good. So great for offering that. I appreciate that, Jacob. That helps, because now we're getting different perspectives on that. What I'd like to know now is, from the GM's perspective, how do you keep that passion strong? How do you keep the passion for what you do strong? And while you're still on camera, real quick, Jacob, tell me real quickly, how do you keep that passion strong?
For the employees, just bringing it when you come to work, showing that you care, showing that I liked what Craig said, that you're willing to get into the trenches to make things happen. And I think, if you come to work every day with the attitude that you're just going to kick butt, then that will rub off on everybody else.
Wow, nice, very nice. That's true. That's good. Lace, how do you keep that passion strong where you're at?
By telling him the season's almost over. We made it.
You know what your problem is, Lace girl? You're just a little too honest right now here. You've been a little too honest with that.
No, basically, I know that my team has my back, and they exhibit a lot of loyalty.
We let them know we have their back.
Yeah, we definitely.
Yes, good job.
There's times that a guest will be complaining about something to them and say, the manager should do this, the manager should do that. Well, they always have my back about it. And I love that. I think that says volumes.
It does. And I like that. And the reciprocal, you have their back and they have your back. It's team. We're all
exactly
together. We're all in this together. So that's
exactly.
Teamwork
makes the dream work.
Yeah, teamwork makes the dream work. Was that you, Kate?
No, that was Amanda. That's our Pine Mountain motto. Teamwork makes the dream work.
I like it, Amanda.
Very good. It's
true. Good addition. And that's very true. It absolutely does make the team work. Dream work makes the team work. So, Ian, tell us, Amanda, since I've got you on the line, how do you keep that passion? How do you show that passion for what we do?
I just, I'm right there. I treat my team like they're family, yet I still stand one step above them. I get out there with them. I tell them, look, if you need an extra hand, I'm here for you. I'll dig a trench, I'll stand on a building, and I'll answer phones on the front line. And they know that if they're in a pinch, I'm right there with them no matter what goes on.
Very, very good. People love that. They know that you're in it together. So solid, Amanda. Love hearing that. That's spot on.
And you'll hear us on the radio hollering, teamwork makes the dream work.
And it's true. I love it. I love that saying. It makes sense. Ian, we're going to be closing very shortly. You tell me, how is it for you? How do you keep the passion strong for you as you manage our GMs?
I would say progression, just in the terms of always hopefully inspiring everybody to constantly improve upon themselves, and then mixing things up too, looking at each component of our properties in a new perspective. If you look at, for example, I think I pretty much royally screwed up the menu for the grill at Medina High Point, but hey, we needed a fresh perspective on that, and now Cheryl's done a great job on fixing it, and Denise has done a great job on bringing in her flavor into the grill there. And so what I'm trying to point out is just always look at your business and each one of our properties in pockets, and how can we always constantly be either improving upon those or shifting our perspective on it. And so, that's it.
I like it. No, that's very, very good. And that was a situation where you fell forward instead of backwards. I like that. So with that being said, heightened leadership and the presence with the guiding principles are really simply this: strong listening skills. Number one, conflict resolution. That's a solid one. Negotiation. We saw that in all our role plays. Delivery of sound solutions consistently, that's good. Engagement and connection along with accountability, that's huge between staff and others. And accountability for growth for yourself, it's really 100% on you. It is on you to make that happen. And reflections like this are huge. That's how we always want to leave people feeling. We want to leave people feeling extraordinarily that we've done our best. Our next phase segment of our program, phase 4, is going to be on Q School. We're going to take you to Q School. That is going to be EQ, emotional intelligence, PQ, practical intelligence, SQ, social intelligence, FQ, financial intelligence, and then IQ, which is, you know what IQ is, I don't have to tell you. So we're going to use that as another layer of our guiding principles. I want to do a very fast roundtable, no discussion, just because I want people to hear what's powerful for those of you on the call. So really quickly, let's go around the horn. Let's start with Ian. Ian, in one single word, what did you gain from this call? If you can just sum it up into one word, what was some magic or something valuable on the call? All others start thinking about that because I'm going to rifle around really quickly. What was valuable to you on the call?
I'm gonna draw on Kate and Jake. They both mentioned comfort, and I think having a comfortable workplace and then inspiring your team members to be comfortable about approaching you on separate things. Jesse, to your point too, that the door swings both ways. So Jake wanted to feel like those his team members felt comfortable around him. And then Kate, you mentioned the same thing, that you wanted your team members also to feel comfortable about you.
Very good. Thank you. That's a good one. Thanks. I like that. That's right on. What about you, Yale? What energy or piece of intel or sharing on these guiding principles that we talked about here? Anything, if you can chisel that down to a single word or two, what stood out for you?
Can I just add a couple of words to the one word? I'm striving and stretching to be flexible.
Striving to be flexible and stretching.
Striving and stretching to be flexible.
I like it. I like it. Striving and stretching to be flexible. Huge. All of the GMs are smiling about that one, I can tell you. That's good. Thanks for that, Yale. How about you, Amanda?
Why you put me on the spot like this?
I know. It's the third one in, so you're okay.
Just what a word I pulled from this.
Yes.
I can't think of one at this minute.
You hold on. I'll come back to you in the end, okay?
All right.
I'll hold your process. I'll come back to you. What about you, Grace? Grace, one or two words while Amanda processes.
Yes, I liked what you said about making corporate decisions.
Yes.
Stay focused on making corporate decisions, making decisions for the greater good, not necessarily for personal or departmental benefit.
Isn't that so funny? That
it is.
Gladys, it's such a simple thing, and if you follow that protocol, you make far better decisions more often that stick.
Correct.
Nice. Well done. Thank you. That's good. What about you, Alex? What's one or two that stood out for you?
I actually had 3 words.
Oh, do it. Bring it.
Sorry. But, so give yourself time. So, before you take a look at that feedback, give yourself time to digest what you did, and it allows you to remove emotion from the situation and take that more critically to improve yourself going forward. So give yourself time was my biggest takeaway.
That's solid, because that's huge. You guys are in the pressure cooker. The buck stops with you. You want to do things that don't bounce back to hurt you, the team, or the company. And so taking that stand down time, whatever that looks like, it's huge. Gives you a chance to refresh and come back strong. So good, Alice. I'm glad you got that out of it. What about, let's go. I hopefully don't miss anybody. How about Jacob? What about you? What's your one or two words that stood out for you?
I guess I'd say reflection. I like about, taking time to dig into different things that happen during the workday and how you handle them and things that you could do better. But also, I guess to Alex's point, and taking time and, for me, if I start really trying to dig into something right away, I get all worked up, where a day or two later you realize that, everything is all right, you did an okay job, or it's easier to reflect, I guess, if you, like you said, give yourself 24, 48 hours before you really dig into it.
Very, very good. That's a good one. I like it. Kate, did we get you already? I know we've spoken to you a few times on this. Did we get your one or two?
Yeah, I'm still back to my excited about what Gladys had to say about making a conscious decision. So I'm going to stick with trying to make that decision every day to get in there just a little bit better.
Okay, very good. I like it. Get in and just be a little bit better today than you were yesterday. And then let's see. What about you, Craig?
I really liked what Jacob actually said earlier about bringing it, and that when you get into work, you set the tone for how the day's going to go. And you could be having a bad day away from work, but if you come in with a great attitude and a lot of passion and excitement, it's going to trickle downhill, and we all know that saying. So it starts from you set the tone, and if you bring it, it's going to set it for the whole staff. Well
done. I totally agree with that, and that's really easy to say, hard to do, but when you do that, not only does it help the team, but it also helps you because it lets you unlock from that negative or darker disposition as well.
Absolutely.
Which you think about, you bring about. Yeah, yes, please do.
You don't know me. Hi, I'm Cheryl. I wish I would have been able to get on all your talks from the beginning, but that's when I was moving from Florida back to Texas, so I missed all of them.
Cheryl, can you put your face a little more in the screen there so I can?
I'm right next to Craig.
No, here's what I have for you, Cheryl. Mwah, 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 mwah. No, thank you. In all seriousness, thank you for saying that, because when Yale and I created this in the early days, then when we brought Ian and Julie in, we literally, Cheryl, we spent some time not doing what Yale wanted to do, not doing what Julie and Ian thought we should do. We did what we felt the team was asking us for. I came in and we made some major adjustments to make this happen for the team. And to hear you saying that you wish you had been on all the calls, that's phenomenal. That I hope Yale, I can't see him at the moment, but I hope Yale, forget about it. I don't care if Yale is on the call now because I'm recording this. I'm going to play the tape back for him.
I can hear you.
I'll tell you one thing, Jess, that when Yale interviewed me, I don't know how many years ago that was, but I told him, I said, I won't work for you, I'll work with you.
Nice.
And whenever I hire anybody, I always tell them that they're going to work with me, not for me.
I love that, and I believe that, because you know why, Cheryl, at the end of the day, we are all in this together. Yes, there's a hierarchy. The hierarchy is for that we can set some official boundaries, hold certain people accountable to get done what we need to get done. That's the only reason why they're there. If we're not working together, we're working against one another, period.
That's exactly right.
We are working, if we're not working together, we're working against, because all we need, Cheryl, is one naysayer, one gossiper, one negative seed to poison the rest.
That's correct.
So right on. I really, really love it. Gosh, listen, I can't wait for this to be over so I can replay that beautiful face sneaking up in there and getting some bonus points on the power of what we're doing here.
Behind Craig.
Okay, so that's good. So let me see. Did I leave anybody out? Jacob, we got Jacob. We got Amanda. We're back to Amanda.
I guess for me it would be about the time. I need to just take more time. I seem to not really take time for myself like I need to,
yep.
Which reflects out at work because I just feel like I don't take personal time for myself, so I feel like I'm at work all the time. So time is my biggest thing.
And you know what, Amanda, thank you for that's a big one. I'd like for you and I to set up a half-hour special session where all we do is talk about how you make that happen, because I understand what that's like. I know how difficult it is to stop it, and I can tell you right now, Amanda, you cannot stop it on your own. You won't do it because you're gonna keep falling into the trap of what I call default behavior. What I want to do is have a half-hour power session with you, and I want you and I to work towards a breakthrough. And that breakthrough is your catalyst that sticks with you, so you actually do what you're saying, not just say what you're saying. What are your thoughts about that?
I think it'll be great because, like I said, I love my job, and I don't know. I go home and my brain just keeps thinking about what I need to do and what I haven't done, and I have a hard time shutting it off sometimes.
And so here's what's going to happen. The challenge is this: you reach out to myself or Lisa in an email and give us a time next week for a half-hour power session. I recommend we either do it whatever you're comfortable. It could be a conference call or Zoom, either way. If you want to Zoom it, then we can keep it and you can go back and watch it. Or we even have a recorded line. If you don't have to have Zoom, we can do it on a recorded line. We'll figure that out, the semantics, because I want you to go back and listen to or watch the power of what you and I create. We're going to do this in a half-hour power, setting you free from that, because we need you to be fresh for yourself, for the team, for the company, for the challenges, all that. You're going to be much fresher when you can put this down and then pick it back up. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Awesome, awesome. So I have 2 other callers out there. I can't see, so I'm not sure who you are. So one of the callers, please just tell us in 1 or 2 words what your takeaway is from this session. Oops, may not work. Okay, too much feedback, so let's pass on that. Let's pass on that because I don't want to. If the callers that cannot communicate, do me the favor. Shoot a quick text to 702-303-6545. I'll say that again, 702-303-6545. Or you already have my email. You can email me what your takeaway is so that I can share that with our leadership team, because it's not going to work with you wherever you're at. There's something going on in the background. So what I want to say to you, team, is we're off and running. This is very, very powerful. You heard it from Cheryl. Others of you have feeling. I can see you nodding. So let's give a round of applause and a thank you for our team leaders, for Andy and for Gladys and for Ian and for Julie, and also obviously for Yale for putting this investment together. And let's say we want to go into the year end killing this thing and set up for January for our retreat so that we can knock the ball out of the park and start in December setting up what all of next year is going to look like with the power of these training tools and the development. You guys good with that?
Yeah.
All right, well, we're signing up for now. Hey, Yale, did you want to have one final word before we close?
No, I just wanted to thank everyone for participating. As we plan to speak, I'm going to have a lot of questions for all of you, so be prepared at your end. And just thanks for keeping the momentum going and exploring this new technology for all of us to get good at, which I'm not very good at yet, but I am going to get good at it. So thank you.
All right, awesome. So Yale says thank you to everyone. Have a wonderful day and afternoon and evening, and we'll be back in touch. You folks are awesome, and know this, team, no matter what, at the end of the day, it's all about how you leave them feeling.